Hey guys, it's Mrs. Anglade, and I'm here to discuss with you interpreting the remainder in division. So what's going to happen whenever you divide and you have a remainder and you are solving a story problem? There's three different things that can happen when you have a remainder to answer the question. So we're going to talk about that today. So as you can see, it says have out your video notes that were given to you by your teacher today, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first page that I have for you are the three different ways, and I realize that this needs to have an S on it after I made that. So three ways to interpret the remainder. Okay, the first one is going to be when you have a remainder, you're going to increase this word is quotient, Q-U-O-T-I-E-N-T. We're going to increase the quotient by 1. For example, if I have 16 remainder 5, I'm going to increase my 16 to the number 17, and we're going to do examples of those. The second way is that we are going to drop the remainder. Okay, R-E-M. I can't spell tonight. Excuse me. R-E-N-I-D-E-R. Okay, we're going to drop the remainder. That would be an example if we had 12 remainder 7, and the question is asking for how many baskets can I make. Then we're going to drop the remainder. I'll show you an example of that. And then we're going to use the remainder to tell how many are left over. Okay, so what we're going to see in the next 3 slides is that we're going to see two examples of story problems that give you an idea of what I mean by this. Okay, increase the quotient by 1. Let's read the first problem. There are 164 people coming to a party. Tables can seat 8 people each. How many tables need to be set up so that there are enough tables for everyone to have a seat? Now, if you think about this and you think about that there's 8 people that can sit at a table, right? So there's 8 that can sit here, 8 that can sit here, and so on. Now, I want you to think about this logically. If I have a number of people coming to the party, and I have a remainder left over, what does that remainder tell you? Let's go ahead and do this division. 164 divided by 8. So let's see, I can make 20. That means I can set up 20 tables. That's going to be 160 people. But I have remainder of 4 left over, right? Well, this is not our answer. The question is, how many tables need to be set up so that we have enough tables for everyone to have a seat? Okay? Think about that. Is 20 tables going to be enough, or do we need 21 tables? Okay? If everybody comes to the party, 164, and you only have 20 tables set up for 8 people, there's going to be 4 people left without a table. That's going to be pretty embarrassing to you if you don't have enough tables set up for everyone. So that's why we have to increase. That's what we call increasing the quotient by 1. The remainder makes you increase. So your answer is not 20, but it's 21. Okay? Let's take a look at the next one. Mrs. Anglade is buying ice cream bars for all of the 5th grade students. If there are 136 students and boxes of ice cream bars have 12 in a box, how many boxes will she need to buy? So 136. When I divide by 12, okay, I know I can buy 10 boxes. That's 120 with 16 left over. It looks like I need to buy 1 more box. So I have an answer of 11 remainder 4, but that's not our answer. The question is, and the STARS test likes to do this, boys and girls, if they're going to ask a division problem, it's obviously going to be in a word problem. And they're going to ask questions that have remainders with them. And that's why it's so important. That's why we've been making you write check statements. It's so that you make sure you answer the question. How many boxes will she need to buy? Well, if I only buy 11 boxes, which is what, 132 students, 120 and 12, there's going to be 4 students that are a little upset because they don't get ice cream. Hey, what about me? I don't get ice cream. Okay, so you better buy a 12th box of ice cream, right? Now, there's going to be leftovers out of those 12 boxes, but you'd rather have leftovers of those 12 boxes than not have enough, because those 4 people are not going to be your favorite students, or you're not going to be their favorite teacher if you do not include them, okay? Does that make sense? Why we increase it by 1. So those are examples of increasing the quotient. Let's take a look at when we drop the remainder. Okay, because sometimes we won't consider the remainder. Susan had 84 yards of material to make costumes for colonial days. If each costume required 9 yards of material, how many costumes can she make? All right, so when we do this division, when I do that division of 84 divided by 9, I get an answer of 9 with the remainder of 3, right? So 9 remainder 3. Okay, now that's not my answer, is it? Let's go back to my question. How many costumes can she make? Okay, so I know that I can make 9 costumes if it requires 9 yards, right? Can I make a 10th costume? I can't. I can't make a 10th costume. I only have 3 yards left over, don't I? And if a full costume requires 9, I can only make 9 costumes. Okay? So I'm just going to drop the remainder in order to answer this question. Let's take a look at another one. Mark is putting textbooks on a shelf that's 87 centimeters wide. If each book, oops, that shouldn't be just one singular book, sorry. If each book measures 5 centimeters wide, how many books will Mark be able to put on the shelf? So 87 divided by 5. Sorry. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, there it goes. 87 divided by 5. There we go. I can make 10 groups. That's 50. With 37 left over, I can make 7 more. 35 with 2 left over. So my answer is 17 remainder 2. But let's take a look at what the question is asking. How many books will Mark be able to put on the shelf? Okay, well I know I can put 17 on the shelf. The question is, can I put the 18th book on there? No. The 18th book would be too wide. I only have enough room for 17 books. So that's why we drop the remainder of 2 and say that we can only fit 17 books on the shelf. Okay? Let's take a look at, we use the remainder to tell the number of leftovers. Ooh, yummy. I wish that this problem would come true. Mrs. Galata bakes 6 dozen cookies. She will put 10 cookies on each plate, making as many plates as she can. Goodness, I have a lot of typos tonight, don't I? She will give the leftover cookies to Mrs. Anglade to eat. Yay! How many will Mrs. Anglade get to enjoy? Okay, well, first of all, we have to know how much 6 dozen is, don't we? So this is kind of a multi-step problem. So if I take 12 that are in a dozen, right, times the 6, and get 72, I know that Mrs. Galata is going to put 72, she's going to take those 72 cookies and put 10 on a plate. Here, I'll just use my mouse. And put 10 on a plate, right? So it looks like she can make 7 plates. Sorry that my handwriting is so messy. So we got an answer of 7 remainder 2. Now, the question is, she's going to make these 7 plates, right? She's going to put 10 cookies on a plate. She's going to make 7 plates, but she's going to give the leftover cookies to me. Yummy to eat. So, how many will I enjoy? I get to enjoy 2 cookies. I wish the remainders was like 11, or no, 9. Darn. Okay. Does that make sense? That's how I answer that question. That's why we always want to make sure we have answered the question that is being asked. Mrs. Galvan, this is true by the way, you will get to do a moon phase lab with Oreo cookies. Bought 6 bags of Oreo cookies with 36 bags in each bag for the phases of the moon lab. If each of the 5 classes require the same number of cookies per class, how many cookies will she have left? Hopefully she'll share those cookies with her teammates. So I take 36 times 6, right? I first have to find out how many cookies I have left to start with. So 6 times 30 is 180. 6 times 6 is 36. This is not as easy to write with the mouse. My pen is having fits tonight. So now if I know I have 216 cookies, and each of her 5 classes require the same amount for each class, so I'm going to divide by 5. Let's see, I know I can start off with 40, right? That's a 0. So that's 200. And then I'm going to have 16 left over. So that's 3. That's 15. And that's 1. So the answer is 43, remainder 1. Well, that's not very many cookies to share with her teammates. Okay, let's see what it says. If each of the 5 classes require the same number of cookies per class, how many cookies will she have left? Well, if each class is going to require 43 cookies, she has one cookie left over. Well, that's not very much to share, Miss Galvan. Buy another bag of cookies next time. Do you get the answer, though? If the remainder is 1 and the question is asking for how much is left over, that's how we decide the question. Okay? So, for your assignment tonight to be ready to write in class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a form up on the Learning Hub. I haven't done it yet, but I will put a form up, and your job is to think about a division question that has a remainder, and I want you to come up with a division problem that satisfies each, or not each, one of these different ways. One of these different ways. Either tell how many are left over, where you drop the remainder, or you increase the quotient by 1. Okay? So I want you to think about what kind of story problem that has a remainder left over, what kind of story problem can you write that would satisfy one of these? It doesn't have to be all 3. All 3 would be nice. But it has to satisfy one of these, and then you will type it into either a blog or a form. I haven't decided which one yet. Okay? And so we're going to be able to share those with maybe other classes, with other schools, maybe other 5th grade classes in other schools. So anyway, that is it for today. So if you've not already done so, would you do Mrs. Collette and I a huge favor and make sure and just go ahead and glue these into your composition book, like the tab booklet like we've been doing, and that way it'll save us class time. Okay? Have a great night, boys and girls. We'll see you later.